Hello dear World of Warcraft friends, welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today I've got a very cool video because a user on the internet took the time and immortalized the progression of the meta of World of Warcraft Midnight in a animated chart. Let's put it that way. So all in all, he showed how the popularity of each class has changed from week to week. The whole thing is very cool, and it also gives some, yes, real insights into the behavior of the players. You can see pretty clearly when a patch was released, when there wasn't a patch, and that's what we want to take a look at here. Otherwise, I'd just like to say again, it's better to play what you enjoy rather than just what's meta. In the end, you get more out of it that way. Just because something is meta doesn't mean you'll instantly do insanely awesome damage with it. And besides, I would be really happy. If you leave a like and especially subscribe, when we hit 38,000, I want to give one of you, yes, WoW goodies worth 100 euros. We can only reach this goal with your help, so please subscribe. I would be really happy, and yes, good luck with it. To put the whole thing into perspective, let's take a look at the current meta. It's not about saying you must play this, just showing what it looks like. And the whole thing is pretty obvious. By now it's become very firmly established. Tanks are usually druids, healers, monks, and for DPS, Augmentation Evoker is used along with the Devastation Evoker, Demon Hunter, and an Unholy Death Knight. That's pretty much the case across all the top keys. Here we see the so-called melee comp, which also includes a monk tank and a resto shaman. And then they go with feral. They play arms warrior and outlaw rogue. That works too, but it's relatively rare, especially since rogue and feral are classes that aren't played very often to begin with. But yeah, as you can see, out of the first 100 runs here, 99 consist of druids, druid, mistweaver monk, DK, havoc demon hunter, and augmentation evoker. That's how it is. The meta is extremely rigid. You can see all of this now in level 2 and level 3 keys here. So, looking at the overall numbers of the classes, for example, you can still see a lot of frost mages, and I don't know, there's even a vengeance demon hunter still somewhat represented here. But the higher we climb, the more these specs disappear, and by level 20 and up, you can see it here. It all comes down to Unholy DK, Guardian Druid, Devourer. Brewmaster Monk is actually still doing relatively well, and Augmentation too. And that's because there's another comp that's sometimes played with Brewmaster Monk and Resto Shaman. And then in other groups, there are sometimes Retri Paladins and Demo Warlocks included as well, so that's definitely a thing. But let's take a look at the graphic here, created or put together by Lolo-Fi Banshee. And here we see the top 20 most popular specs each week in 16 plus keys. So here we're really looking from the very beginning at the best players. The best specs, which ones were used the most often. And here we see right in the first week. Brewmaster, Unholy, Resto, Druid. And then the remaining 2 DPS spots were usually a mix of Demo Lock, Augmentation, Devastation, Frost Mage, and behind that, all the other classes. Yeah. Followed more or less. Right? With week 2, we saw an even stronger rise of the already well-known meta specs. So here, Augmentation and the Warlock keep moving ahead. Now suddenly the Ret pulls ahead in week 3. Then the first class tunings came in. And with that, Unholy DK was made even crazier than it already was. You can see that here now. They're shooting way ahead. And we can also see that the number for the Brewmaster is going up pretty slowly. Meanwhile, from below, the Guardian Druid is slowly approaching. From week 6 on, Unholy DK became the most popular DPS. And the Guardian Druid shoots up to rank 5 in the whole table here. At the same time, the Resto Druid is slowly dropping out. So it gradually got worse. And we can see Stissy is making a bit of a comeback. And the Mistweaver Monk, which we have now. And now, Shaman has caught up quite well. Meanwhile, the druid is now in first place. And now we're slowly getting the same picture we see in the current meta. Yeah. Very, very interesting to see. At the end of week 11, at the very top, is Druid, by far the most popular spec. After that, we had Unholy, also very, very strong. Then here, Retri Pala, Windwalker Monk, and Resto Shaman. Devourer is way, way ahead. And surprisingly, something like Demolog or Augmentation isn't really that strong up here. I think if you had made this chart for, I don't know, 20 plus and higher, it would have been more obvious. Because especially in this range from 16, 17 up to 20, a lot of people are already playing retrees. And at that point, you can still say, hey, play what you enjoy. If you bring a decent class in the print, you'll also get invited to random groups. That's usually not a problem, but you can also see it down here. Yeah, you always have a few classes that aren't really popular. Both warrior specs have actually held up more or less the whole time. Paladin rotates in sometimes, rotates out sometimes. Shaman, Elemental is in, Enhancement was added later on. Well, as far as I know, I don't know. Basically, every class has been represented a little bit somewhere. Where it really stands out is, for example, Druid. You mainly want to have the Druid in the group for Mark of the Wild. And if you have the situation where Druid tank is the best tank, then you don't need a Resto Druid, no Moonkin, and no Feral. And that's what we see here. None of these specs even show up here at all. Over time, Druid has just dropped out more and more. In the beginning, we still had a bit of Feral included. So here it was pretty far down. But it was in there. Owl hasn't shown up even once. Rogue has only popped up occasionally with 1 or 2 specs. So, yeah, we've already shown these in the video. There are a few stubborn cases where things just don't go so well. With that said, thank you all very much for watching. Definitely a really, really cool graphic. It really shows you how strong the meta is, how driven people are. As soon as a class is really OP, like with the Druid for example, its player numbers shoot up. What do you think about it? Feel free to write it in the comments. And with that, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Take care.